G'day golfers, I'm Glenn Haynes. Well, here's a question for you. Is the golf swing a pulling motion or a pushing motion? Well, stick around and find out how we believe you should swing a golf club. Welcome to Aussie Golf Pros, where we help you make the most of your game. So, am I pushing through the ball or am I pulling the club down in the downswing? Well, actually neither. What we've found over the years of coaching is that golfers really react well and swing better when they feel like they're throwing the club, which is not letting go. Now have a think about it. The golf swing is very similar to a throwing motion. We use a lot of the same terms and we see a lot of the same actions in throwing that you do in the golf swing. So we see, especially a baseball pitcher who obviously throws the ball the fastest, we see a lot of ground force energy into the ground, a lot of rotation with the hips and the trunk, an external rotation of the trail shoulder, the elbow leading and the wrist leading and the ball lagging behind, and then that release. And we use these terms in golf coaching as well. We even use the term release. We just don't quite let go. So ask yourself this question. If you're throwing a ball or a javelin or anything like that, how tightly do you hang on to that golf ball? If you can throw the ball very far or even a moderate distance, you will realize that actually you need to hold the ball very lightly, very loosely. And we need this soft motion of the hand and the arm to release that ball and transfer that energy. And we need to do exactly the same thing in the golf swing. If we try to push the club through impact here, then what we can do is we early release the club, we get internal rotation of the trail shoulder, which all golf coaches know that we don't want, and we get this chicken wing effect where we're pushing the club through, the elbows get apart, there's too much tension and effort, and we're definitely going to lose club head speed that way. Conversely, if we're pulling down in the downswing, the problem here is that we might be generating some speed and some lag, but it's very easy to get very steep, so the shaft gets vertical. Again, this is giving up power. This is a power leak and an accuracy problem. We want the shaft to be lagging behind here and on a shallower plane. And that can only happen if we're a little bit more relaxed and softer here and allowing that club to lag behind us. Same as someone would allow the ball to lag behind them when they're throwing it. Externally rotating this trail shoulder, so that's turning the forearm this way, getting that elbow in front of the wrist, and then the ball and the wrist is just the last thing to release through that impact area. Same as the golf swing. That's what we want to happen.
These models are courtesy of the Titleist Performance Institute. They do some great biomechanical studies, and we can see some big similarities, some differences, but some big similarities between the golf swing of the Tour Pro on the left-hand side and the baseball pitcher on the right-hand side. So to start with, obviously the setups are very different. Now here where we get some similarities. So the wind-up is very slow and it's very wide. The pro golfer is keeping the club well away from him and the trail arm isn't bending very much. And it's the same with the baseball pitcher. The trail arm is out and wide, it's not bent much, there's a lot of width there, and the ball and the club are well away from the shoulder. Now, pushing a lot of downforce into that lead leg, obviously the baseball pitcher has got a wider stance there, and then the rotation, and that's where the power comes from the ground up in these rotational sports. So it's all about the legs and the hips, and then the trunk clearing out, and here the big similarities, see how the elbow has now flexed a lot more in the downswing for both the baseball pitcher and the golfer, about 90 degrees for both, and then the release. So the elbow's leading the wrist is leading the club or the ball, and then we get this release. So at impact, for both the baseball pitcher and the golfer, the trail arm is still flexed. And then we get this release where a few frames later, the arm is now extended. So we go from this flexed position, a 90-degree flex, to a very late release. And here the similarities continue in that we've got full release and rotation. The trail shoulder comes right through towards the target. The golfer allows the club to swing right through over the shoulders, whereas the baseball pitcher allows that trail leg to come right off of the ground there.
So how do we create that feeling, that motion of throwing through impact? Well, try this. Grab a golf ball. I want you to skid it into the ground a few feet after you. Through there. And remember, skimming stones across the pond, it's really going to feel like that. Get that ball to skim. You don't want to throw it into the ground here. That's early releasing. We want that elbow to still be flexed through impact. So skimming through there and landing a few feet after you, that's going to get that feeling of throwing through impact. And then obviously try to recreate that with the ball. Nice and relaxed, and throw. Just don't let go of the golf club. Now don't concern yourself if your swing doesn't look like Justin Thomas or Rory McIlroy. As long as you get that feeling of throwing and you're relaxing more, then you're going to learn to generate more speed with less effort and less chance of injury. Now, if you'd like to continue your journey of learning how to develop a free and easy golf swing, then watch this video next, and we've got our free training guide on all of today's tips right here in the corner. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next week. Are you the best golfer you can be?